Whenever you're ready.
What's up, guys? Got another goddamn interview on the goddamn channel, but that's more like a homeboy hangout, as I like to call them. They got none other than the mighty and the almighty, and I said almighty, Cattleprod himself.
What's up, y'all?
So, yeah, I guess I did have questions, but I was assuming the more stories and rambling, the better, honestly, because, yeah, so the thing I would ask, actually be curious about, is how this whole YouTube thing actually came about to begin with. Like the idea to start making all these videos.
Oh, yeah. Well, I knew of Hells already before Justin's channel. I was already buying from him. And then I saw his channel and shit like that. And then I saw him doing interviews with like Brian Baxter and a few other people I had recognized, like King Fowley. And I was like, well, maybe I ought to start paying attention to that guy. And I guess Dead by Dog had been announced. And I thought to myself, like, oh, that'd be cool just to get on there and rep some of the music that he talks about and just do it on my end. But I didn't want to. I was scared or whatever. And then Cat Shades was asking in the comments of J Dog's videos about band T-shirts and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I've got that tour T-shirt. And he asked to see it. So I did. I just showed that one. It's not on anymore. I took it down. And then like people, I got a pretty good response for like 25, 30 views. Like a few people were like really responsive to it. So I'd start showing off old flyers and shit like that. Just trying to build up my bullet belt credentials.
Yeah.
So people poser and shit.
Yeah, I don't.
And then, so it started from Cat to Shades. That motherfucker pink flat brim nudging me to do it. And it just kind of took a life of its own.
Yeah, I mean, I know Cat Shades from way back before he even. I knew of his channel before he even started, like. Oh, well, not, he might have already been watching by that time, but I already knew of his channel from just, like, him being on YouTube before, so. Yeah, so his name wasn't unfamiliar to me, like, before J-Dog, so.
Yeah.
And actually, the funny thing is, with like J Dog and all that, like you were talking about Mike Violate and the Ghoulish Dave, not Ghoulish Dave, but Mike Violate. He was like, I think I said it even in the stream, that he was the first person from J Dog's comment section to actually go on my video and comment. As like from J Dog's comment section, Mike Violate was the first.
That's cool, man. Yeah, he got on mine too. That's how I know him, is because he got on my channel.
Yeah.
And he's just being cool. And then I just started chatting, with him on his videos. And I checked out your stuff eventually, I guess when I was early on, and I was seeing names pop up regular. And yours was one of them. And you've got the music on it with that high-pitched screaming, right? That was
yeah.
That shit was badass, dude. I loved it instantly, man.
It was funny because you said like take like or be careful with your voice or something, and I was laughing because that those vocals are like, I mean, those like we call them whistle screams around here. Those are definitely the most straining type of vocal that I actually do. so I can definitely understand where that comes from, but I think it's, I'm kind of in like that point where I'm just like, I've always made music for myself to enjoy, but like especially now I'm just, trying to have fun with it, and do what I can come up with, and I always like I saw someone say like something about lurking corpses having too many styles and shit in J Dog's comment section on today's Von Ghoul interview he did.
I just watched that.
They were saying something like, "Oh, they should just stick to one thing," but that's like, well, it's kind of like, why? Because it's kind of like you're just limiting yourself to one genre, and it's like if you don't want to do that, of course there's bands that do, but like personally. Even from the start, even when I was basically just improvising, like my songs used to be me hitting record and just chugging out riffs on the guitar, programming drums, and completely improvising on the spot. It's almost like stand-up comedy, but for like lyrics. My first album or so. So I didn't take it very seriously, but I still like I didn't limit myself to like, oh, I'm only gonna do thrash metal. I'm only gonna do this. I do everything.
Just do what feels right.
Yeah.
Lurking Corpses, after having seen them play live and not a live recording, I actually physically got to see them play, and I was right there at the stage. Now I get it. Like, I got it before. I liked the music, but then watching the whole performance, that was amazing, man. To me, I would love to see like an animated version of Lurking Corpses, if that could be like a Saturday morning cartoon show.
Yeah.
Very happy.
Von Ghoul certainly has the skills for it, the acting skills.
That whole band does. Their whole presence live, because that bass player just stands crouched the whole time.
Oh yeah, I'll have to see. I somehow didn't notice it. I watched one live video, but I guess it went. I was completely Darren Headlights dick in the mouth on that one.
That's why you got to see it live, man. When you see it live, it's just so it's right there in front of you. It's just
I know J Dog's gonna do all the videos. Someone's recording it for him, so I'm obviously like waiting on that for actually like listening to it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually wanted to bring this up because it was interesting because it wasn't like I wasn't looking for it when I found your channel. I was like out in the wild. I'm pretty sure I was in my YouTube homepage even, and I got recommended. Just YouTube thought this new channel. Here you go. Just
that is algorithm manipulation.
Yeah.
101. I can manipulate the shit out of an algorithm.
And the crazy thing is that they must have knew something that day because it was specifically the drug test video, and I'm pretty sure at least at the time when I checked it out, there was only like a few videos before that one.
Okay, I'll be honest with you because we're doing this live, and there's now not live, but somebody's right in front of me. That story is mostly true.
Okay.
It is mostly true. Now, I did urinate all over that damn bathroom right in front of the fucking cop. And it was all fucking over me. Now, I think I just exaggerated. I think I exaggerated one end and didn't tell the truth on the other end because I had actually done something that was so damn obscene. The camera can't pick it up. I only tell this part of the joke when I'm in front of somebody, physically in front of them. But I can kind of illustrate with you. I was holding the cup. Oh, since I have a cup, I'll do it this way. I was holding the cup out like this and walking towards him, but I was waddling because my pants were all down and shit like that.
Yeah.
So not only is this dude just pissed all over the bathroom and not giving a fuck, he's now like, do you want this? And I'm walking towards him, waddling. It was a disgusting and obscene sight. One of my proudest moments.
Yeah.
When you can take a room full of badasses and wannabe cops and like pretend cops or whatever, these Judge Dredd wannabe motherfuckers, when you can take a room full of hardened gang members and cops and everybody is fucking silent, not a word is being said, you have just dominated the fuck out of a room. You know, now I understand how G.G. Allen felt. Now I get Seth Putnam. Now I get like Glenn Benton. I know what it's like to walk in a room and have everybody silent.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I'm sure even Big D has that sometimes. Because I know they have some crazy shit they like to say live. Because now Big D is a very... I don't know why. I guess it's for, it's all good advertisement. That's how you kind of get new fans now. But they have the Instagram. And Big D's actually the one running it, and I did hear from J-Dog in an older video that Big D actually runs J-Dog's Instagram account, so he does all the social media stuff, and he puts up.
Who are we talking about? That dude, that Nunslaughter guy?
Yeah, Nunslaughter. Yeah. So or Dawn of the Dead for people who actually are like confused. Who the fuck is Big D? But yeah.
I was like, I don't know who the fuck that is. The Nunslaughter guy. Say the fucking Nunslaughter guy.
Yeah, he tends to upload like live clips, and even from like the Jim Kanye days, where like Jim says something before a song or something. Like they have very very good like the stage banter going on. So yeah. That's I like when like because you're bringing up the Glenn Bentons and stuff of my world, the kind of stuff that I'm used to, like. That's literally why I like those guys, because they have those they have a way with both words and actions, and that's what I like to see in metal. Like
And metal did lose that. It just became super technical and fast. And
yeah,
I love that, but it lost like Glenn Benton almost having sing along, and then the banter that these that he could do, and then like other bands realizing go out there and like entertain. Like Malignancy set. My wife was laughing her ass off at the stuff that guy was saying between the songs. And that's what metal really needs back. It needs that image, that edge, and that stage presence. Presence. It needs that again. Yeah. And Mordant Red, that guy, and Lord Humongous, those are two little guys. I can't wait to see those guys because those dudes got presence. They know how to get out there and get right in front of that audience's face. And that's kind of how I roll, literally, it kind of in real life. When I'm like talking to cops, dude, I just channel being in a band. Like, the world is my stage. I realize that cop's got a body cam. I'm like, here we go. The world is my stage. Let's do this shit, man.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get killed doing this one day, but hell yeah, it's been a fucking awesome ride. Now, I'm in my mid-40s. I'm shocked I made it this far, because like this shit I've been doing on this channel, you realize that's a snapshot into my life. I didn't start any of that before I started YouTube. I've been doing that crap my entire life. I just now have like people listening. I never thought to tell anybody this shit. It was fun at parties, but I never thought to get in front of a camera and just tell people this dumbass shit that I do.
Yeah, I guess that does kind of answer one of my questions, because one of my questions were actually, how do you, because I look and I keep track of it, and it does actually seem that you pretty much post a video every day. Like, yeah. I was going to ask how and what actually is the driving force behind that.
Good question. Well, I know the algorithm. Like I said, I messed with the algorithms with the names of my videos and what I talk about. That's why I tried to cover 40K. I tried to cover comic books and have metal going in the background. If you're not into one of those three things, bro, we really don't have anything to talk about.
Yeah.
If you're not into 40K, comic books, or death metal, that's my three things. Now motorcycle riding is kind of like a whole nother other aspect of my life. But anyways, those are the three things. So I made sure that those were in the fucking algorithm. What is my inspiration? Shit, dude. Honestly, lately I've been reading comments, that people give me. But before, sometimes a story would pop in my head. Like if I was at a party or a gathering of friends or trying to, hit on some pretty lady or something, I always had like stories and anecdotes and stuff I want to tell them. Well, a lot of the stories I'm telling y'all is exactly what I've been telling normal people my entire life. I'm just doing it for the camera now. So, yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, for me, it's very like the like I think I commented it that I think the storytelling, the way it's told, is very. It keeps things entertaining, and even like the when you show the, I guess, off-topic stuff from the main topic of the video, like the stuff you said with the 40K, like the stuff you paint and stuff. That's cool to see too. Like, 'cause, it's interesting to see like someone's passionate hobbies and like what else they do in life than just being like, oh, this guy listens to metal.
No, good question. That's why I kind of added in there. A lot of y'all play music on your stuff, like you and then Kai. I checked out Kai's music. It's fucking awesome. He had a song on there. I swear to God, it's a hit. That's it. That one song needs to be turned into like an actual.
That's a lot of Kai songs.
He's got some killer riffs, dude, that just need to be like made into like full ass badass songs. But no, I wanted to do something different. I mean, I have a guitar, I have a camera, and an amp. I could easily play music and stuff. And I messed around with it, and I was like, no, I don't like the way it sounds. And I'm too used to being in front of drummers, so that's my other thing. Is I get nervous being in front of the camera, but if you put me in front of a drummer, I'd be fine. So that's my other thing. I'm used to a drummer and not a drum machine, and that's just me. I played live and practiced a lot. So with the 40K miniatures, I was like, man, I had to just show off my 40K shit. It shows I have skill in something other than whatever. It's like, oh, I have this other hobby and talent, and show that off. So it was like me breaking the mold of the metal guys. It's like, talk about metal, play metal, and actually record yourself. And I was like, no. Play metal, show off 40K.
Yeah.
Just to twist it up a little. I don't know. Seeing if that worked. So far, not really. The 40K people will show up and then they'll leave. And there was a time I was actually noticing the minute counts of the algorithms, and I could tell the 40K people were just there looking at, pushing pause and just looking at the models and then never listening to the audio. And I was like, well, I got to cut that shit out. Y'all are messing up my view counts. It's like 80 views of 20 seconds. I'm like, man, you just looked at pictures.
I mean, I like seeing it in, as well, the comic books, and I'm not sure if you've actually talked about movies as well. You might have.
In and out, yeah, not as much like a movie version.
Yeah. I mean, I try, like I said, because of the very frequent upload. I already keep up with J-Dog every day. It's hard to keep up with like two people upload fucking.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, I do, but you do see, I try to pop in every now and then. I click on a video, try to watch, see what's up, what's going on, what's the topic at hand.
Yeah, they're not all gold records, but I try to keep I kind of had a formula of playing, just hitting record, hitting play, and then sitting down as the music starts. I'm like, okay, that's going good. And then just try to have an anecdote or a fun story and read comments. And that's just kind of where we're at now.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think it's working because, I mean, you've grown a lot faster than I have.
Dude, do you know what's a trip, dude? All the cool motherfuckers at Dead by Dog and the Hell's Headbanger thing. It started at Hell's Headbangers. They were like, you look familiar. And the first time I just played it off and was like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And then another guy was like, dude, you look familiar. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm on YouTube. And they're like, oh, they all remembered. And then at the concert, people walked up. Dude walked up straight up. This dude was so fucking cool. He was like, hey, it was a Malignancy. They just finished up their show. So the pit was all winding down. And I was just kind of walking through the crowd. This dude was like, hey, what's up, Cattleprod? I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Yeah, so that was kind of cool. He just straight up called me that and said, hey, what's up?
Yeah, already getting recognized out there in the wild.
Yeah, but that makes sense because people were looking at me. They'd take one look at me and their eyes would widen, or I'd start to speak to them and they'd be like, oh, shit. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm not going to bite you. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
I think what I figured it out is I didn't ask anybody for autographs. I never do. I never ask for autographs, and I never ask for pictures with like one exception. So I never ask for anything. I'm all like, hey, man, what's up? Good set. Hey, man, I like this song off this album, and these albums are my favorite. Love it. Or, something like that. That's all I say to them, really. And they're like, oh, okay, you're not asking me for shit. So then they calm down and all of a sudden start like talking to me and shit. So you kind of have to get around that. They're just, I guess they expect people to like, hey, can you sign this? Hey, can we take a picture?
Yeah. So I guess another thing that could be useful for the younger people watching is like, I said 5, you can get more or less or more, but like some underground metal recommendations that aren't obvious. I know you have said some on the channel before, and maybe a little explanation of what they actually sound like.
Okay. Are you going to name them or I can't remember anything off the top of my head, man.
Oh, really? I thought you would be full of recommendations, man.
Oh, shit. I've had a hell of a fucking morning. I had to get out and start working pretty early this morning. And I was trying to wrap it up so I could get like take a shower and come hang out with you. And now I'm just kind of wired and like, what's the suggestion? Noxus. That Noxus for real is a band I'm fucking loving right now. NOXIS. Violence Inherent in the System. Oh man, it's like brutal death metal. Not so many triggers, so it's not like super fast, but it is fast. Yeah. It's just not triggered fast like Archspire or some shit.
Yeah,
it's like fast enough. It's heavy, brutal death, but it's got hooks and catchiness to it, so you'll find yourself headbanging quite a bit to it. So and then they got a split with Cavern Womb. That's a good one. I try to play that one all the fucking time because I fucking love that split. And then Cavern Womb is badass. Oh my god, that's a trippy metal. Like, I guess if you like jazz or something or progressive guitars, like something like that, then you might like Cavern Womb. I think Cavern Womb isn't brutal enough for some people and too trippy for other people. Okay. Like it's kind of trippy music. It's like, imagine Tool if Maynard never showed up and the guys just slammed beer and ran into each other a bunch of times. Like, they wouldn't make Tool, they'd make Cavern Womb.
Okay. I mean, I just to kind of answer the whether I like any progressive or stuff. I mean, I like pretty much all of the classics. I mean, pretty much all the big Pink Floyd albums, Rush. I do even love some of the '80s Rush and some of the. I haven't checked out everything yet.
Oh my God, y'all in that live chat! I can't believe how many people are just like were Rush fans.
And Yes, the band Yes is has two of my favorite albums of all time, maybe even, which is Relayer, Close to the Edge. Those are just I love so I love a lot of prog actually. So it might be my kind of homie if it's
Well, yeah, give the Cavern Room has a 4-song demo. Check that one out. In fact, the song Amber Scourge. Listen to Amber Scourge. That song is fucking amazing, dude. If you don't like that song and you're like, man, I don't like, you're probably not going to like the rest of it. But if you're like, okay, I want to hear more, dude, you're hooked.
Yeah.
You're going to love it. If you like that one song, Amber Scourge.
It's one of those bands. You either like it or you don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Mortician's like that.
Yeah.
I
just happen to like him a lot.
I didn't get it at first. Like when I first started playing it, I was like, I don't get it. And then I finished a playthrough and I was like, well, let me play it again. And then I was like, man, I'm going to watch this movie on television or whatever. And I distracted myself. And then like halfway through the album, I was like, oh, I get it now. I get Mortician now. It always takes, sometimes it takes me 2 playthroughs to get an artist. But Mortician, definitely, I didn't get that on the first one.
Yeah.
But second playthrough, I fucking loved it. Hacked Up for Barbecue, Mortal Massacre, Zombie Apocalypse. Oh, those are the ones I'm the most familiar with. But yeah, I love those. Oh, if you like Mortician, listen to Fluids. Fluids, they did an interview with J-Dog.
Yeah.
They're like Mortician if like, I don't know. If Mortician wasn't old now and they were still young guys, this is what they might sound like.
Yeah. So younger Mortician. I think
younger generation.
I've probably heard something by them, but it was a while ago. I remember I checked it out when J-Dog first brought him on, talking about him. He was talking. Yeah, he'd actually mentioned Fluids before the interview, obviously. So I had some prior knowledge of the band. And I tend to like whenever J-Dog's like talking about bringing up a band, saying like, "Oh, you should check this out." I tend to at least give it a listen, give it a spin, see, okay, is this good? Is this not?
When I first started watching him, I wasn't sure if he was full of crap or not, so I'd pause it, go open up a new tab, and start typing in that shit into YouTube so I could see it for myself.
Yeah.
Half the time I had listened to it already, and I was like, "Wait, let me listen to it again." Oh yeah, I remember this album. He says this album's good. He's right. And I'm just thinking to myself, he's right. So that was another thing I wanted to do with the channel was he started naming that like that Hemdale Exhumed split. I'm like, you mean this one right here? When if you don't have Repulsion, and I'm like, this one right here. And every time he named an album, I was like, I fucking own those albums that he's just calling off. Why the fuck am I not on there going, you mean this one? You mean this one? You mean this one? Fuck you. There's my bullet belt, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to be to him at first. But in a playful way. I wasn't trying to be confrontational. I was just like, I get how he is because he's younger than me, but not by much. So his personality type, I am so used to it. He's like a type A dude, a bodybuilder, and he's into the extreme death metal. I've known all 3 of those types my entire life. So to me, he's like a brother I haven't met yet.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely, like he said it many times, that he exaggerates this for camera because it's what sells. But yeah, you can see in the very first videos that like what he's maybe more actually like when you talk to him in person. But on the camera, obviously, it's like you kind of have to amp it up because you can't just sit there and be like, oh, today we're going to talk about this band because no one's gonna. Yeah.
Now, when he gets on a roll, that's exactly what that character that you see. When he gets amped up, that he turns into that character.
Yeah, that's when he truly turns into the dog.
He just keeps it going. But he will do it. I've seen him talk. He was like, man, he just started cutting loose on some Cannibal, like Cannibal is a poser or George Corpse Grinder sucks or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, I've seen dudes that do that with their hats. They turn that flat brim around and they're like, hold up here, buddy. And they get like real serious. Yeah. He does that shit. I was like, nah, you do that in real life. You really do.
Yeah, and actually, on the underground stuff, the thing I thought you would mention is actually the band Viral Load.
Oh, Dude, fantastic band. You're asking the right guy because I've seen them.
Yeah.
So if you want to know anything about Viral Load, literally ask me, dude, because I've seen them. I had Mouth-Watering Stench, that demo. We had it on cassette tape, but before it had vocals, there was no vocals. It was all the instruments with no vocals. I had that cassette tape. That got taken by a friend in the scene who was cool, but he got that damn tape from me, man. The Mouth-Watering Stench, why that's important is Dauber is on drums on that tape. It's the only recording of Dauber playing Viral Load songs.
Yeah. And I mean, I did check it out. I think you uploaded it on channel, so I did check it out, and I thought it was it's good brutal death metal. It's heavy, and you obviously played it in the background of a video, so I heard it there. Yeah. And
listen to that song, Bash Fucking Skull. That is like the best. That to me is like their best song.
Yeah. And of course, the kind of elephant in the room, I guess kind of, but not maybe to everyone, but for me at least, the one I've heard you mention quite a bit is actually Coffins.
Yeah, it's because of Hell's Headbangers that I found Coffins.
Okay.
I think I might have heard. No, I heard them on YouTube, but once I found out I could get Coffins pretty regularly from Hell's, the band. We're not talking about actual Coffins. People in the comments.
Yeah.
The band Coffins from Japan. Once I found out I could actually get albums, physical albums from Hell's, oh man, I just started repping the crap out of it because I'm like, guys, if you're seriously not listening to this band, you should. It's Japanese, but it's Doom, and a lot of people ask me about Doom. Dude, do you like Doom? Okay, here's my Doom. Coffins and Incantation and early Incantation. With Craig Pillard and Will Romer on vocals, those eras of that's my Doom. If I want Doom, that's what I want. You know.
Yeah.
I guess Profo could be Doom at times, but
yeah, I mean they have some slower parts. I mean, it's not the same thing as like putting on Mental Funeral to the
right.
dog.
Early Autopsy, yes, is another example. That's how I like my Doom. When I was introduced to Doom, that's what it was. I didn't know about this other thing.
Yeah, the like Candlemass stuff.
To me. That's ballad hard rock. Go on. It's not bad. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
You know, you want Doom? Yeah, give me Severed Survival or something. Upon the Throne of Apocalypse. Bring that shit down, dude. That's how I want it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys who just happens to like when certain bands carry on a style, a formula that they actually run with and stay with, I tend to like it all, which happens with Incantation, Autopsy. I mean, my favorite band, Dismember, and Dismember, they literally say that Mental Funeral, they might have even ripped off some riffs or two from that album.
No. Yeah, that's what
because that's their riff Bible. They have a documentary where they speak Swedish, so I have to translate it for some people.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, so I obviously watched that because they're my favorite band of all time. I mean, it kind of was like that was one of those bands where you could kind of argue I get into it because my buds were, but the people who recommended me Dismember are no longer even. I don't even know if they're alive, dead, or in jail. So
yeah.
So I mean, I have to be into it, but yeah. So I basically
Dismember picked up in popularity. I've realized everybody's saying, Dismember. I'm like, where the hell were y'all 10, 15 years ago?
I can actually pretty easily explain how that came to be, and I'm sure you can figure it out as well by just guessing. It's not just of the whole social media, but also like. I found out about them when I found out about Dismember. They weren't even on Spotify, believe it or not. They had like only like one song or like from something from that Swedish death metal compilation. If you've ever seen it, it's like it has like a book and everything.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so they needed for some reason Dismember, one of the biggest Swedish death metal bands. They didn't have anything on Spotify. Then, like, literally, like, the next year, I think it was 2022, they finally put all their music back on Spotify. Oh. And, on top of that, they reissued all of their vinyls on vinyl and CD. So I actually, I bought everything. I have, including pieces. The only thing I don't have is Misanthropic and I think Shapeshifter, those EPs. And I don't have the demos. But every other, I have pieces, all the full lengths. On full-on fucking vinyl
That's cool as hell.
Yeah, because I was like, well, shit, they're reissuing all their shit. I'm gonna fucking buy it.
Well, okay, that explains why everybody's into Dismember all of a sudden. I didn't know. I was literally wondering why that was happening because 10, 15 years ago, I never heard anybody talk about Dismember. Only except like people who were around back then when it was brand new. And I had pieces, but I sold that to some dude in Hong Kong for like major dollars.
Yeah,
so,
that I mean, if you have an original pressing of any Dismember, that is money.
Well, it was money back then too, and at the time I was like, "Fuck it, I need that money. Let's do this." So some of my stuff did get sold, but I had the pieces. I still have Gum. What's that one? Indecent and Obscene. I still have that, and I got Missing Property.
That's the one with when gun to my head. I will call that my favorite, but realistically, every album could be my favorite because I love
Death
everything.
Metal and Hate Campaign. Those, because I didn't listen to them back when those albums came out, but now that I've gone back and listened to them, I'm like, well, those albums are actually really good. So the new stuff was good too.
I love
the new stuff's better.
For me, I personally love every Dismember album and I guess pieces equally because it's all the consistent style, but of course there's different stuff. Like for example, for me, Hate Campaign has the most some of the best guitar solos because it has that different lead guitarist on there that sounds completely like he's more of a shredder than anyone else has been in Dismember. The other guy who does because the main guy. David, who's basically one of the founders of the band, his shredding is he basically said it's he's influenced by Deep Purple and stuff like that. So he has more the bluesy death metal kind of shredding, but still intense and all that stuff. And he for example, I'm pretty sure he does the iconic Dreaming in Red guitar solo. I know for a fact he does the Override and the Overture guitar solo. So, he still has the death metal spirit to guitar solos, but he's more influenced by the blues stuff and stuff like the bluesy sounding stuff. Not saying he's sounding like Stevie Ray Vaughan out here, but, But yeah, and another thing that might contribute to them being popular recently is they actually reformed under the original lineup, so, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was unaware of some of that stuff, so...
I actually saw him live in 2022 on a festival. This is actually funny. This festival, I was unaware of what I was truly seeing because I was there for Dismember, but I was unaware of what I was truly seeing with the other bands. Because the other band, there was two other bands that not until I started watching J-Dog I understood the significance of. It was the final two bands that played on the big stage because they alternated between a smaller stage and a different room. It was like an old factory, so it had a smaller room and a bigger room. Yeah. And it would go between the big and the small stage. Pretty normal, standard stuff. So the last two before Dismember, it was General Surgery in Niflheim. And I didn't realize what I was truly seeing live because I'm pretty sure Niflheim, they're split up now. And... General Surgery is still together, obviously, because they're playing live and stuff. But I didn't realize what I was truly seeing there. Because, General Surgery, they were very early gore grind. I mean, they also had Maddie from Dismember on vocals early on.
Oh, right on. Yeah, man, that's why I thought that band sounded familiar. That was a much older band.
Yeah.
That's another one I heard of it way back in the day, and now I'm hearing it now, and I didn't realize, oh, that's the same group. Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, the Necropsy EP, I think it's called.
Yeah. Those early days were a hoot, man. I remember getting CDs and shit like that, and they would have catalog inserts for Nuclear Blast records, Earache records, Relapse, and man, and then sending away for a catalog. That's how we had to do it back in the day. Send away for a paper catalog, like a magazine, and flipping through it and filling out what you want, sending it back with a money order or a check. That's how we used to do it, man. You had no idea what you were getting back in the day. You're just like, well, I got these 5 CDs. Let's see what this is. Symphonies of Sickness. I don't know. Let's see what that is. Boom. Oh, wow. This is fucking badass.
Yeah. The early gore grind was a treasure to behold. And I will actually say I rep some newer gore grind, but not all of it because a lot of it does fall under that J-Dog thing where a lot of it just sounds the same. But
well, it's that pig squealing.
yeah, but one that I think actually kind of cut out, not entirely of a niche because it's in the vein of the Disgorged Mexico, but
that's a good one.
they have their own like vibe to them, if that makes any sense. It's Viscera Infest, actually also from Japan.
Oh.
Like
Japan's killing it right now with metal, I'm telling you, dude.
That band actually, I found them because on Instagram, the first thing most people see about Viscera Infest, they might come up soon because like that's a band that's blowing up like hell because they're getting popular through Instagram and all that. Their drummer, he's always playing in his fucking underwear. So it was one of those videos where it was like such a shocking visual experience to see that happened to blow up because of the algorithm. That so many people ended up seeing this man playing like top BPM blast beats to gore grind. And actually, I went to check it out, and I was like, well, the music's actually really goddamn good. And now he's actually in a black metal band that I can't fucking pronounce the name of, not because it's in Japanese, but because I don't know. It's some like it's like shui, and then they kind of smell they spell the first word. I have to say it the gay way. ZXUY. No, I, not Y. So yeah, and then the next word is I read it like Moskva or Moskva. I don't know how to but it's like MoskHva or VHA, some weird ass fucking just. What are these words I'm reading?
Yeah, shit.
I actually, the reason why I checked out that black metal band that he's not the original member at all, is actually a formation of another band that existed, I don't know when, but they were called Crimson Tears, and they had like they only had a few songs on YouTube that was like demos, and it was like 2 songs even. So, but one of the songs I heard was so good that I still think about covering it like a full band cover. Like it was a black metal song. It doesn't obviously now it's easier to do it because I'll get to that. But it was like out of nowhere, like this random Japanese black metal song from a band that basically never did anything, and it just fucking smokes. I was like blown back in my seat. I was like, holy shit, how is this not more popular? And to this day, I don't think it's even reached, like, it might have a few thousand views, but it's like, that's still, like, top tier underground Japanese black metal. It's like, it's good production too. It doesn't, it has some low end, so that's why I said, like, my kind of black metal is, like, in the Pro Fanatica vein. Of course, I like some melodic black metal, given it has not that, like, mayhem demo production where it's just, like, all treble and no bass.
Well, there's like one microphone in the room. It's just recording the room of them. Oh man, those early mayhem demos. I mean, I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they put it out, but it's real hard to make out what's going on.
It's real hard to get through it for me. And it's the same with some of the non-slaughter demos, but they actually, in this weird name band, I might put it in the pinned comment just for people who are curious enough. They re-recorded this song in this reformation of that band, and they, I guess, recruited this gore grind drummer because they can tell they see that he can blast, and they don't play as fast as they do in the Viscera Infest. So they were like, oh well, shit, you can play black metal blast beats. Come here, and we'll fucking, basically do this fucking band together. And they re-recorded that song, and it's funny because. The only way you can listen to it is on Bandcamp online, and I guess YouTube. They have it on YouTube as well, the full album. But you click on like the lyrics tab on Bandcamp, and it says something like the lyrics are completely rewritten, like not the original lyrics, but the timing of the vocals are all the same as the original, pretty much. So I mean, if I was gonna cover it, now is better than never because now I actually have the lyrics as well.
Yeah. Man, that's the thing that gets all of us messed up is there's Spotify, Bandcamp, and YouTube.
Yeah.
And we don't all like each one has its own group of metalheads. There are those metalheads that their Spotify playlist, like they don't own a physical copy. I hate to sound like J-Dog, but I've been saying that. It's like, put your phone down. I don't want to see what your phone says. I want to see what you say. What do you have that we can tangibly hold? You know, and you're saying that stuff is not available. Stuff is not available on YouTube. It's just on Bandcamp. Well, that's the thing. There's stuff on Spotify that isn't on YouTube, and vice versa. Yeah. And that's hanging us up. That's actually separating us into different tribes of metalheads. And that's not really good for the scene, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. But I mean, for some of us, I mean, again, to quote J-Dog, I kind of agree with him that it's kind of nice to be like not the same as every other person out there, you know, just having your own opinions and stuff. But yeah, there's some people who don't even like to use any of those digital. They're like, oh, physical copy or nothing, man. But then you go like, you want Those Whom the Gods Detest by Nile. You want it on anything for that matter. The CD might be $50, and I saw that the fucking vinyl sometimes goes for $200. I'm like, where am I gonna fucking find that?
Hey, we gotta change the camera. I think it's about to start raining on me.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that.
But like I was saying, yeah, so some of it, like, it goes on Discogs for, like, insane amounts of money, like, more than it should. It's just like, this is metal, man. Why are you selling it for, like, fucking the same price as a Taylor Swift concert ticket?
Well, that's because the albums, when the labels printed them, depending on your label, they only printed a few thousand of those, maybe. Yeah. And only major labels like Metal Blade or Roadrunner can afford to keep them in stock. Like, so a lot of those labels, they make like 1,000 copies, sell them, make their money, and then they're done with it. They don't think about it. Because it took them so long to get rid of 1,000 copies, they don't want to deal with another 1,000.
Yeah.
But then a decade of time passes, and you could easily sell 1,000 copies if you just produced them. And I like that that's what Justin's doing, and his brothers over there at Hell's Headbangers. I'm going to rep them for a second, but they're absolutely brilliant. They're going to get those licenses and getting the master copy and literally just reprinting that CD for you. And in some cases, they make the reprints nicer than the original ones.
Yeah.
So if you look at that price tag, I know I was talking to Chase, Sea-Dog, and he was about that Christian, because I was like, oh, that Christian gatefold you did was beautiful. And he was like, yeah, but it's expensive. But I'm like, but yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of Hell's Headbangers, I had to bring something on the camera because it's a little bit of a recommendation. See if I fucking find it as well. Should be something here. This one. Talking about, I don't know if this one has any good case canning. It kind of has lyrics, but this one is the Hell's Headbangers, the Church of Disgust, weak as is the flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is, for me.
That's sick looking.
I bought this from actually the guy who has I believe it's his label, the guy from Undergang, the band that J-Dog recently interviewed, from Extremely Rotten Records. But as you can see, this is a press from Hell's Headbangers. Yeah. I don't know when this is from 2021 even, so. That's
what's awesome is like they reprint that shit, and you can have a physical copy. Like Infester, I was like, wow, Corpse Vomit. I just picked up.
Oh
Corpse
yeah.
Vomit, which he didn't do. I don't know who did Corpse Vomit, but being able to get that Corpse Vomit demos, Levidity demos. I mean, I went after those because they're like things I'd heard of, and they were unobtainable goals. If you missed that when they were printed, you were never going to see that again. And there I am looking through the catalog going, it's all that crap that I thought I'd never actually see or listen to.
That's what I like. And actually, that was was for Infester, because I saw that recently it was repressed by some like German, I think, label who also repressed early Acheron. So I bought those right up because Infester, I mean, I'm pretty sure Infester I stumbled on. That was another YouTube thing, algorithm happening. And like I just stumbled upon it out of nowhere. It was just like it was the song, I'm pretty sure, To the Depths and Degradation, the title track, and it was like you hear that like extremely like it's like if you take Incantation but everything is just chaos. on the
Yeah,
instruments.
yeah, yeah.
It's just so brutal and so doomy, but also
They were
intense and
doing that.
extreme and all
They
that.
were they were doing that at the same time Eaten Back to Life came out. That's what they sounded like at the same time Eaten Back to Life came out. And at the same time in that same city, the bands that were blowing up were like Nirvana and
Yeah.
Soundgarden and all those grunge bands. So at the same time Eaten Back to Life is coming out, these guys were playing that death metal while surrounded by the biggest grunge movement, the biggest almost punk rock movement that the West had ever seen. And that those guys kept it sick. In fact, Infestor was really sick for their time. They were ahead of the curve. If you said that came out like, oh, that was after Tomb of the Mutilated when that was made. Hell no, this is fucking same time Eaten Back to Life came out. That's why that demo is so awesome. As soon as I saw that come up for sale, that was an instant grab. I was like, I know what that is.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of that band they did before Infested, pre-Infested with that demo, I checked that and shit, that's also good death metal right there. It's a little less brutal, but shit, it's still good.
Yeah. And the time is always the thing. Look at when stuff came out.
Yeah.
They'll always tell you that.
I mean, hell, even Incantation was way more brutal than Eaten Back to Life at the same time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, when I heard that was their demos and stuff. I remember hearing Upon the Throne of Apocalypse because I got that from Relapse Records along with Deceased. I got Deceased, Blueprints of Madness back in the day, and a bunch of other stuff. I either got it from Kurt or I got it from that Relapse catalog. And I just remember finally getting that box in and like I'd never heard that stuff. So, but yeah, I had already heard Butchered at Birth and Tomb of the Mutilated. And then I was hearing Upon the Throne of Apocalypse and Forsaken Morning of Angelic Anguish and was like, whoa, this is insanely heavier than Cannibal Corpse. Like, I wanted some brutal death metal. This is fucking brutal death metal.
Yeah. And actually, while on the brutal death metal topic, I guess I was thinking about this one when I was outside because I didn't write it down. But yeah, I mentioned in your stream that I like some of the Wigger death metal slam, brutal death metal. I don't like calling it slam metal because same reason J-Dog doesn't.
I had a conversation at Dead by Dog with a guy about that. Like slam seems to have had a riff. Like there's the people who are the slam purists. They like internal bleeding and suffocation because of those bouncing fucking riffs, but also the blast beats. And then there's this other group of slam that seems like they just want it to bounce around all the time so they can just run into each other and make weird noises. And so there's a rift in slam. And I'm glad we needed to separate the people. Putrid Pile's cool, I know that gets called names, but that dude's funny as hell. That dude's got some presence.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I see Suffocation and all that as just brutal death metal because it just has that sound to me a bit. But yeah, so the reason I was bringing that up is because I obviously like the stuff like I said, the later Dying Fetus. Like you put on In the Trenches, if you strip the distortion, the growling, you might have a rapping song right there. Like it's
right.
Yeah, it's completely like it's completely like this on the basketball court, but for me that album is one of my favorite Dying Fetuses because kind of not just because of that, but because it's kind of like the drummer they got for that one is really like he can really, I don't know what it is, but when I tend to be really drum focused when it comes to music. So that's why I tend to lean into BPM and all that stuff and beats and all that. The way he I guess composes his beats is just it awakens some primal instinct within me. And
right.
And but actually, if we're talking about Dying Fetus, it is Reign Supreme would be one of my favorite albums, but if I actually picked my favorite album, it would be Destroying the Opposition for the same reason, actually, because of the drumming. Because Kevin Talley, that drum solo intro to Epidemic of Hate, I heard that on a call with someone playing it through they were playing it through their phone, and all I heard was that intro. I was like, wait, shit, you gotta tell me what the fuck that song is. And I went to check it out. That was actually how I got into Dying Fetus. Because I'm sure I've heard I heard "Subjected to a Beating" before that, their most popular song, but it was like I never really checked them out before because I heard that intro with the guitar tone and everything, and then the drumming comes in. I was like, holy shit! And
you like Kevin Talley, and that no wonder you like Fetus. You were introduced to Kevin Talley on drums.
Yeah.
He played on Killing on Adrenaline.
Yeah.
And during that set, they played for that tour on that first set. And that band Crucifixion from Houston, I mentioned them all the time. One of the guitar players in the band, I knew him real well at the time. And he was behind stage because I think Crucifixion had played that same evening. And he waved over to me to come behind the stage. And the security just let me pass. One, they knew me. And two, I was being waved back there by someone. I got to sit kind of behind and adjacent to Kevin Talley when he played Killing on Adrenaline. So I got to see him play it from behind and then watch the crowd at the same time. Dude, that was fucking killer. That was one of those moments you're like, you're going to be in metal for the rest of your life when you're just sitting back there watching this shit happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's sometimes me standing where I stand normally at a show. Actually, speaking of Incantation, they have that Charlie Corrin drummer now that is he plays live. He plays the tours for Incantation because Kyle is he's old. He doesn't want to tour anymore.
No, yeah.
But Kyle pretty much said that when Kyle's out of the band, Charlie's who's gonna be next up in line basically for who's
that's
gonna
how
be.
Incantation's worked throughout their entire career is just cycling through people.
That show, the first Incantation show, because I saw him twice. I had to see him twice because the first show, it was one of those stages where if you wanted to, you could fucking, I don't know why you would be pissed at him, but if you were pissed at John McEntee, you could have wailed him right in the face with the fist. Because it was one of those stages where the stage was like maybe half, like 30 centimeters high at best. And no fence at all. One of those shows as well. So it's just
you're right here. I love that.
So intimate and right there. Yeah. So my first show with Incantation was mainly, I did hear a lot of the guitar actually. And the bass was probably the one I heard the least of, and the vocals. But I heard a lot of the guitar, and the one I heard the most of was basically what you were talking about, hearing the intimacy of the drums. Because there was no PA triggers there. That was me listening to Charlie drumming directly on the kit. And that motherfucker hit so hard that it felt like my internal organs were being rearranged standing because I was right in front of his kit. Basically.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Dave. Yeah, you're so close to him. It's not the PA you hear. You're literally feeling that drum in your chest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
some of that Incantation stuff, I mean, they have Death Doom, but shit, some of the Incantation gets pretty fast even.
No, they have fast parts. Yeah. They have fast parts.
Cal is not a slow drummer by any means. So
they're not only slow, but they're hitting so damn hard. They're actually hitting them. Yeah. So they didn't trigger any of their stuff to keep the production costs low. So they needed a drummer they could really hit. Man, they got one. I love Kyle Severn. I got to see him play with Incantation. That was a treat.
That's actually one of the big reasons why Vanquish and Vengeance is one of my favorite albums. One, because obviously I'm slightly biased towards John McEntee's vocals. I think he has kind of like his growl is not obviously as deep as Craig Pillard and all the other guys, but he has kind of he has such a like it sounds like he's performing a literal ritual when he's singing and then screaming and growling and all that.
Yeah,
it has a very ritualistic sounding voice, and I love that. It's like that's but the drumming on it's the song that's gonna put J-Dog to sleep but make me stay awake. The longest song on Vanquish and Vengeance, I forget how long, but it's like between 11 and 17 minutes. Yeah. It's I forget. It's something with of course I draw a blank now.
Metal Archives.
Well, I can bring it up real quick here. It's Legion of Dis. It's actually only 11 minutes. So Legion of Dis. That one has it's the drumming is that's what make me like Death Doom for me. I like Death Doom yes, I like Death Doom, but I like it when it's like good in the sense that you're not just gonna hit a drum every 30 seconds and impress me. Like that's why I love that album, because that song, yes, it's insanely slow, but the drums and everything with the composition, it's put together in a way that's clever and enjoyable, contrary to
It's
just
not a
being like,
snooze fest. It's
yeah,
not. Incantation's Doom parts are actually some of their catchier parts.
yeah.
But I guess the other reason is you know that you're not going to be in the Doom part forever, that they do have faster parts and mid-paced. They have
Well,
melodies and solos. You know you're going to get everything.
Legion of this is one of those few incantation songs where the whole song is like that, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, one of my favorite incantation riffs is actually from the newest album, on the Holy Deification. That Concordat riff from the first single, like it's because it's such a sing along riff, and that it got drilled into my skull, and I was like, shit, man, I can't get that. That is just like, it speaks to me on a level I can't understand almost.
I'm glad you brought that album up. I had a side job where I was fixing apartments so that they could be rented out again. And when it came to painting the apartment, I put it on Unholy Deification. Like every time I walked in to do this job, Unholy Deification went on, and I would just listen to that. And it would take about an hour to finish or whatever, and that album would be over.
Yeah.
And I go to the next one, start the album again. And it was kind of how I kept time, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, I can work for as long as this album is playing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to that one. I mean, I swear probably 3-4 times a week for like months. So.
Yeah, well, I guess you do enjoy it then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the first time I saw Incantation. The second time I saw him, actually, it wasn't just because Incantation was on the bill. Like I think I told this before. I might have missed saying this on the stream chat, but they were playing with Left to Die, and for those who don't know, Left to Die, it's Matt Harvey's one of his many death tribute bands. Okay. But the thing that makes that one cool is they have the guy who basically came up with the Evil Dead tapping intro, Rick Ross, on guitar. He's on the Mantis demos. Like, that's history right there, just having him on the bill. Yeah. So, them playing the first two Death albums, I'm like, Incantation and the first two Death albums with one of the original members live, and he also had Terry Butler from bass, and he had the drummer. I think I think you said this album when you were talking about Malevolent Creation, or maybe that was more than Red's video, because he actually made one recently on Malevolent. But the Invidious Dominion, it has that guy Gus Rios on drums, so they had that guy as well, and that ensemble, of course, Matt Harvey as well. Just seeing him live, and his Chuck impression, like especially with the live sound, because live it kind of gets a little obscured if you're listening to a live recording. It really fits. It really fits for Death. It really sounds similar enough to, it's like some people are gonna be like, "Is this Chuck revived?" But that was one reason. But also because I obviously wanted to see Incantation again, because the sound the first time wasn't. There was some things, like I said, the vocals were a little hard to hear. Yeah. This time around, the venue was completely just. It was a great venue, and it was still like an intimate stage kind of thing. We had this time we had a fence, but it was like, I think the walls went higher and the roof went higher. I mean, and it was a bigger venue overall. So the sound actually filled out instead of just being one big loud thump. And
right.
That was like, it was as if it was in the room when Incantation was playing. It was kind of like, it felt like I was standing in a studio recording session almost. And I also love that John McEntee, he does kind of have like a live stage presence thing going on. Like, he has a thing that he does. I can't quite put it, like, the way he introduces some of the songs and such. And that was, I remember one of the bands before that being some complete just I don't know why you were on the bill even, and that was one of my favorite shows. Okay, but just to give a little bit of context, the band before them had a weird name. I forget what it was. It was like kind of. It was like a group metal band that wanted to be death metal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one of the guys, guitarist, Wu-Tang Clan t-shirt. Because I'm like, I don't know. It was okay. It was pretty good music, but it's like, man, you couldn't look any unless you walked right out of the fucking hood.
Yeah.
But man, Incantation and Left to Die, they just stole the show. I even forgot the name of the other bands. But actually, one of the bands I saw was actually, oh shit, now I remember actually another reason why I saw that show. Because there was 3 bands on that bill that I wanted to see, and 2 of them were actually bands that I've seen before and wanted to see again in better sound. Because another band is a local Swedish band, just 40 minutes away from me, basically.
Yeah.
Carnasus. They're one of those technical death metal bands, really new bands, really young guys, but they were supposed to play like a show in my city where we kind of have like an organization trying to make like metal shows in my city. So they bring in a lot of local bands. That's how I actually found a band called Crawl, and I own a 7-inch, so that should say enough about that band.
Yeah, no, I know that band.
There's 2 different Crawls. There's one from Sweden, and there's another band from, I don't know if it's like Spain or something.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking of the Sweden one.
Guess the Swedish one, they have the Swedish death metal guitar tone, but they play kind of like, for lack of better explanation, they sound similar to the band Nails. They have like the power violence, hateful sound.
Nails. Yeah.
Okay, so then you might have the right one. They were actually filling in for Carnasus because one of the guitarists got sick, so they didn't play that show, and instead it was Crawl, it was Creeping Flesh that I bought a T-shirt of on the show because I was like, shit, that was a good band. They played like the melodic death metal from Gothenburg, but not as wimpy as In Flames. Not as wimpy as In Flames and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's more rough and tough.
Minus In Flames, yes.
Yeah,
of course. I always assume. I never assume people mean In Flames.
Yeah.
If somebody likes In Flames, they'll tell you.
Trust
have you heard
me, they will.
I'm like, yeah. Have you tried anything else other than In Flames and Between the Buried and Me?
My mom likes them.
Shadows Fall. Although I got to see Shadows Fall live because I was with a friend and he really wanted to see these bands, and he was like, "Please come with me," and I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Shadows Fall, not my cup of tea, but I was surprised that those guys had a lot of energy on stage.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard Shadows Fall. I think they're all right. I mean, I can listen to it basically.
Yeah, I'm not gonna buy your album. I mean, I'm not gonna buy a T-shirt. But when I saw them playing, I was like, yeah, I applauded because I was like, fuck, it was a good performance.
Yeah, I don't know. If I checked out their albums, I might, because I actually will out myself. It's not really outing because I don't really give a shit. I actually like the way I started, like, because obviously when I grew up, like I said just now, my mom likes In Flames, but she also grew up in. My mom was born in 1970, so she grew up in the 80s. Essentially, that's when she was in her teenager rebellious years. And what the big thing then was basically the pretty boy glam metal, but it was also Iron Maiden. So she grew me up on Iron Maiden, Kiss. Okay. She even showed me Dragon Force when one of the songs were new. So a lot of that stuff that I'm into now comes from my mom, and so I heard Iron Maiden and stuff and Kiss and stuff like that early. And obviously, I heard Europe because that's a Swedish band. I mean, you know, that's kind of like a certificate for being Swedish, whether you like them.
I've never heard anybody say their mom got them into death metal.
Well, not specifically. That was the gateway to it, probably.
Yeah, the gateway. Like, what was your gateway? Because everybody always wants to know what's your gateway. That's so cool that yours is like my mom.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a guy at Dead by Dog. And I met him, and then I met this young guy, and then I found out that young guy and that old guy, father and son. Like the son got into death metal.
Did you mention that in a video?
Huh?
Did you mention that in a video before? I feel like
Yeah, maybe
familiar.
I did, but I just thought it was worth repeating because it was such a cool thing. Like,
Yeah.
you know, because most people, how'd you get into it? It's usually like a friend or an older brother. You know.
Yeah, and actually, what happened? The progression after that, it was kind of like Guitar Hero 3 came out, and I got into Guitar Hero, and then I heard Raining Blood by Slayer. I had Metallica's One, and then around the same time, I saw the Enter Sandman music video. So I already kind of got into it, but even though I kind of liked it, it was one of those things where like I liked the songs that were here, but not the songs that were over there, basically.
Yeah.
The songs that were basically popular and mainstream and basically shoved in your face. But for me, I mean, I liked the way I was introduced because, it sounded good to me. And I mean, I remember being the kid who would flip shit when another kid at fucking like kind of a, not summer school, but like kind of like a summer daycare if your fucking parent doesn't have a vacation. Like they leave you there and instead of leaving you home, trashing the fucking house. Yeah. So like a summer daycare, but even like when you're like 8 years old or something. Like I remember being the kid when another kid brought some like hardcore punk shit, I would like start throwing shit around the fucking place. So I was basically moshing already. I didn't even know what it was. But yeah, so
Moshing was in your DNA, man.
it wasn't until it was actually so obviously I kind of got into it because of that. But the way I actually started checking out a lot of underground stuff eventually was that another Guitar Hero again, because that's the way I've gone into a lot of music, because I basically bought all the Guitar Heroes when they came out and played them.
Yeah.
And shit, I mean, some of that music I still listen to today, so it's basically like you were buying like a compilation of music in a way. And then, you discovered shit.
Yeah, I guess you were, yeah.
And that, I mean, for some people that's unfortunately. For me, I don't really give a shit. I mean, it was Avenged Sevenfold and Trivium that got me into, like, actually checking out albums and music by bands again. As in, like, actually looking into bands. Because I heard Avenged Sevenfold in the game and Trivium. I went to check out those bands. And I became such a fan of them that basically it kind of led me into the whole like metalcore, deathcore thing, and I kind of became a part of that culture. But it's like when I did it, for me, I only like heard like the old bands because they're kind of part of Avenged Sevenfold and Trivium are early bands in that scene, and a lot of the deathcore I got into was either like stuff that's similar or early on. And it was like I did kind of get down with the whole like how later deathcore kind of becomes like wannabe Meshuggah. I kind of like some stuff.
They call it gent.
I know it's called gent, but I kind of tend to like for normal
that
people.
That got insane for a minute. That was funny for like a minute, and then it went. When they called it gent, that's when I was like, I'm done. I'm dipping out of YouTube for a while. I don't want to see music anymore. Yeah.
I enjoyed some of that kind of deathcore stuff, but then it was like it got to a point where like I mean, I pretty much started like because at the point I also got into like the modern slang with the super produced kicks and all that. So so I already had like the most, I guess, brutal of the commercial stuff.
Yeah.
But
overproduced
then
stuff.
Eventually, I guess I found some buddies who basically were like, well, shit, because I used to be the kind of guy who was like, now I make fun of them, but I used to be the Chuck Schuldiner dick rider actually for death. But now I'm actually like, it's almost like the opposite. It's almost like I'm like, fuck this guy. It's crazy how that shit changes. But yeah, so basically they were like, because I was very vocal about loving death. Like I pretty much like, at least then I liked everything up to Individual Thought Patterns, and I knew I liked, because I didn't even get past that. I all those albums I like, including Individual, and then I know I like the I forget what the album was called with the mountain on it, but it has the song "Flesh and the Power It Holds." That's the song I still actually listen to. So I do like all of Def, but they were kind of like saying like, because they were younger than me, and they're like, well, shit, you like Def, but you don't even like really know Morbid Angel and stuff. So they were like, shit, you gotta listen to this, man. And it was,
those are good friends right there.
So the funny thing is, as I'm starting to listen to this, I start looking back at old playlists, and the funny thing is, I actually had heard Morbid Angel before. I had like a playlist from like a few years before then that I call like cool club metal. It had some Venom, and it had the song "Immortal Rights" by Morbid Angel. And when I played it, I remember that I used to only listen to Immortal Rights for that reversed intro. Like, I used to just play that reversed intro over and over because I thought it sounded so fucking cool. So when they actually told me to check it out, because I would do like all the live streams, like getting recommended music, and I was doing like song request live streams, right? So they got me onto all that DSI and stuff, and I guess at first I enjoyed Pestilence, but then recently I went back to Pestilence. I'm like, I don't like this at all, even the first two. I was like, I guess I just grew out of that because Pestilence, they have like that sound is not entirely uncommon. There's other bands that I think does that sound better, but
fair enough, yeah.
So
that sound did get kind of saturated there for a while.
Yeah, so
that's why Butchered at Birth and Eaten Back to Life were so groundbreaking with that lower gurgle. That I mean, Butchered at Birth changed everything for metal, really. Yeah, they weren't the first ones to do it, but they definitely made it sound cool.
That was actually the way I got into the Morbid Angel and Deicide. At first, I'll still look back at this and scratch my head what I was thinking, because when I listened to the first three Deicides, I said that they all sounded the same, but and I guess I can see where I was coming from, because I guess at the time that old school death metal to me was still like, it wasn't digesting, it wasn't coming in here and staying, it was coming in one ear, coming out the other, because I wasn't understanding it yet. Because I mean the heaviest thing I knew was like Slayer before then, realistically, because the slam death metal, I don't know, I could give or take with that. But Morbid Angel, immediately, that was one of those bands that just immediately, like, I loved not every album. I don't like Illude, but I loved every album by Morbid Angel that isn't that one. So I actually like the Kingdom's Disdained one and all the Steve Tucker ones. In fact, I have to be honest that my favorite is Formulas, because it has all the blasting and riffing. And I covered some... I covered in the Death. I did like a full band cover with like programmed drums, because I'm a one-man band thing, of course. But I did like full cover of that. So Morbid Angel stuck with me immediately. That was one of those death metal bands that I heard them and immediately knew this has to be good. In fact, the funny thing is, it leads to why I do things the way I do now, and why I like to do things the way I do now with like buying music, where sometimes I kind of make myself do it the old school way, where I buy it before even listening to it, and like that's what happened with Morbid Angel Authors. That was the first album that I actually bought. I ordered the vinyl before even listening to the full album, and then actually later listened to it, and I was like, yeah, it's good. And that's what I did for some other albums later on now as well, because I kind of like the element of surprise, but also, now, obviously, I check out singles and stuff, and shit, I mean, it started with Morbid Angel, and now it's all over the place, you know. Now I even like stuff that J-Dog doesn't, you know, like, even, like, later Cradle of Filth I like because I was like, okay, let's see how gothic this is, and I was like, well, I can see where people are coming from, but this is not really what I think of when I think gothic, because when I think gothic sounding metal, I think of Typo Negative, which I also love, but that's kind of like the sound I'm thinking of then, not really like Cradle of Filth, like blasting and stuff like that. Like even the later stuff has some blasting on it, and I actually really want to hear their new album, because I don't know, I followed the singles and stuff.
Have you heard My Dying Bride?
No, but I feel like I've heard that it's like a side project or something.
Well, yeah, because they didn't put out a lot of albums. So, but they went from like goth metal to just like goth. So I don't know. My Dying Bride, check them out. They got a few albums, and I've heard the newer one's pretty good. I probably listened to it, but I can't remember it. But
I know the J-Dog has mentioned that a lot.
Yeah, he might have said the older stuff was good too, but somebody did say the later stuff wasn't that bad, and I checked it out. It was not that bad, but it wasn't the original shit.
I'm sure it beats Whitechapel.
Yeah. I'll say it. Suicide Silence. Sorry, I never got into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There was a band I wanted to see, and I think they warmed up for Whitechapel, and I was like, Sanguinus Bob or something like that.
Oh, Sanguinus Bob.
I really wanted to see, and they were the first one, and I was like, well, what are tickets? $30. I'm like, $30 to see this one band for 30 minutes, and then those other two crap bands play that I don't want to see.
Yeah, that's actually like the exact reason why J-Dog did let every band have their own like full headliner like set basically, because it's like if you're only there to see one band, but also the cool venue with having like a hangout event of it, not just being like, oh, here's some bands, now go home. And it's like food.
It was $30 to get in, $20-something to park. I'm like, there's $50 and I ain't even seen the band yet. You know? And it's always like, it's not worth it to me. But I was really upset, and I even got on their Twitter or something like that and was like, can y'all do a tour with bands that aren't that, to do a tour with like a band that's actually good?
Yeah, so you're talking about Sanguinus right?
Yeah, or whatever you say that name.
Yeah, that is the name. I have checked it out. I liked the first album. One song, the song Dead Ass Shit. But then I checked out the second album, and it kind of sounded more like monotonous and like just here's Extremity, and it wasn't as catchy.
I guess formula.
Yeah, and the same with like, and I guess it seems it's the opposite for every of these like, these like, 'cause that's like the new wave of old school thing going on. I was the opposite with like a lot of those bands. Like for example, I cannot stand everything Blood Incantation done except for the newest album they did, where they had a collab with Tangerine Dream. Because I do love Tangerine Dream actually.
I've heard that.
Yeah, but the newest album, they finally did something that sounded, at least to the band, unique, and it sounded like fresh ideas. Because the first, the Power Plant Alien album cover, that was kind of like taking Morbid Angel and making it more this and that and new gen.
Yeah, that's a very accurate description.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people said. That it was, oh, this is just Morbid Angel wannabe shit.
Yeah, Morbid Angel with UFOs. I was okay with it. I'm like, all right, this is fun. Do this.
I enjoyed it when I first heard it, but now I'm like, I kind of just like, I would rather listen to Deicide or something like, Yeah,
maybe in 20 years it'll sound cool again,
when you go back.
Whatever, 20 years later, like maybe that album wasn't so bad after all.
Maybe we'll be like, are those guys still around? Like the dog says.
Yeah.
Actually, another band that actually projected my underground enjoyment was actually Vector, that thrash band. I no, you mentioned you hadn't heard
them.
They
brought that up in the chat, and I looked that up, and I had listened to it. Black Future, that's technical and progressive, but not too much of either.
No. It's still enjoyable. It's still catchy and good. And that is actually where I got those whole like whistle screams from. That guy. That's because before that I hadn't even heard that kind of vocals like at all before Vector. So when I heard Black Future for the first time, actually I think I heard some Outer Isolation song first, and then I went to Black Future and the. Actually, no. I heard the third album first. I drawing blanks like hell here. But then I actually listened to some other stuff, and I heard his vocals. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So that actually made me, like, I used to sit in my room and practice those vocals when I was still living with my dad and his wife. So you can imagine them hearing, like, the fucking whistle screams and, like, fucking being annoyed and all that. And I mean, shit, I used to record death metal when they were home even. I've gotten yelled at once or twice or 15.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I always made sure to project that I was going to make music whether they liked it or not, if it was at least during the fucking daytime. So...
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean... so that was a huge inspiration, and it actually changed my way of doing some vocals. Like, even... Like, I kind of, like, tried to imitate his high screams, as well. But my high screams, people have said, sound more like a dying, no, like Danny Filth.
Oh sure, yeah,
like his high screams on the early albums, because I do have. Because it's hard to describe, but it's like that if you take that whistle scream and put it on and combine it with a normal scream at the same time, it's kind of like you have a normal high scream and it's like that whistle is like acting as like a overtone. That's what I was going for. So I definitely understand that comparison, and of course I don't mind being compared to a fucking vocalist I very much like, and yeah, so. Vector was very influential for that, and of course the riffing and stuff. And I'm actually waiting for their new album right now. They actually posted some like the drummer actually like he posted like a story. Those are like limited time things, so they're only up for. So I screen recorded that on my computer, so I can go back and listen to it. Every time I go back and listen to it, it sounds more and more awesome. It sounds exactly like the Vector where they left off and what I want them to go. And it even sounds more like the earlier Vector, because on the third album, they kind of changed it up, but not a whole lot in the style. Okay. It was more like, you could tell that they were extra prog influenced on Terminal Redux. Because like there's a song called Collapse. That song, he actually does clean singing on, and he says like directly in an interview that he was trying to go for like the Pink Floyd clean singing kind of thing, and I was like, oh yeah, I hear the comparison. I love every album. I think every album by Vector is flawless, but that one was like different. But so it's exciting to hear them go like all over the place with like their sound and stuff, like coming back a little bit.
Let me tell you a band that didn't work out for. There's a band called Mind Rot, and if you go to Ken's Death Metal Crypt, he has the demo, and the demo it's killer. Mind Rot, one word. And that demo is amazing. And then you hear the first full-length album, and that came out on Relapse Records. And I heard the demo and got the album when it came out, and that was years ago. And I was so disappointed with that vocal singing. I'm like, how did you think that was going to work? Like, they tried to do some clean singing, and it just didn't work. It was such a disappointment. So.
Yeah, actually, I think Ken actually deleted his channel for some weird reason.
What?
Yeah, it was like I think from what I read, it was like, oh, he wanted to quit YouTube, so he deleted his channel with it. But it doesn't make sense because it was like a
doesn't make sense.
Demo like archive kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, he's the only one that has some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
now, obviously, people have re-uploaded all that because he gave a pretty long heads up, so people, you know.
Oh, okay. Well, thank goodness. Yeah. I just hate the fact that we lost all that.
Mind Rot, right?
Yeah, Mind Rot. It was he had that. And I was just surprised because I remember when he started showing up on my feed, and it was demo tapes I'd heard of, and then every now and then there was one I'd actually heard. I was like, oh my god, I've heard this tape. You know, I had Goat Whore. Before Goat Whore had a full length, I had their demo tape. Front and back, man. I played the crap out of that. That's all.
What are they actually like playing? Like the style?
When the hell was that? In the 90s. They were doing that in the late 90s.
Yeah, but like, what style is actually Goat Whore? Because I see them.
It's black metal, but it's more like a European black metal than an American black metal. And then later on, they started just kind of making it a swampy Southern black metal. So their first stuff was like they were just kind of mimicking what was popular and what they liked, and they hadn't really developed their own style yet.
So when you say swampy Southern black metal, I'm assuming you don't mean Sack Wild chugging a beer.
No, it's a sludgy, slower.
Oh, okay. So they kind of became more like in the sludge vein.
Yeah, but a groove to it, a swampy, drunken groove. So just imagine trying to dance while you're drunk. That
Yeah, I can imagine. And I mean, the thing is, I've only been like that. That's a great topic we can bring up. I've only been that drunk, like I can count it on one hand. And the reason why is because every single time I hated it. Because the next day you awake. Well, sometimes it wasn't even the next day. It was not sleeping at all. It was actually. Yeah. There was a few times when I was young. It was when I was. I think still like 16, 17, when I was still in that rebellious, I'm going to borrow my dad's wife's ciders and grab a few beers in the store and not pay for them. That's funny. I actually got caught in the store, but I never got reported. I guess he thought I was just some kid or something, and he let me off, whatever.
The best beer is stolen beer.
Yeah, so it was like kind of. I think I was 18 when it happened. 17 or 18, so I'm still really young, right? So I still am, but like, it was the last time. It wasn't the last time, but it was the one thing that I never wanted to achieve again in my life, because it was one of those times where I thought I was just drinking with my friend, and then all of a sudden I'm in the fucking bathroom, laying on the bathroom floor, fucking puking my guts up.
In there, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god. And then there were a few times where later on, when I actually got the alcohol license, so to speak, and here's a year less than America that you can buy from liquor. So here's actually weird. When you turn 18, you can buy hard liquor at a bar. Because I guess it's supervised and stuff like that, and they have security sometimes, and you're not allowed to bring drinks outside the bar. Yeah. So it's more controlled. So that's why they say, you can drink when you're 18. So I think that makes a little more sense than just flat up not being allowed to. But yeah, so and you could buy like light beers and ciders in the store, because they only have like.
You can't buy booze in the store.
Yeah, you can't. It's like only like I think the max you could buy is like a 3.5% beer or something.
Oh, okay. So that's a very low calorie beer.
We only have one liquor store chain in Sweden, so that actually sells the liquor, the harder stuff, the stuff that's like 4.5% and up and whatever. So once I actually became 20, it was funny. I was born on the last day of the year, so 31st of December, year 2000. So actually, last day of the year when the fireworks were going off, the first fucking whiskey I ever drank was Jack Daniels. So of course I don't like drinking straight liquor, never did. So I had a Jack and Coke way, but yeah. So after that, it happened a few times where I was stupid and drank too much, but not to this. I never actually managed to achieve the amount that because. When I drank with my friend, it was like I had to get some salt water and shit in my system to get even a little bit better that time.
Yeah.
I never got that bad again, but it was times where I was, like, for example, I remember the last time I ever allowed myself to get drunk to where you're puking was when I drank 1.5 bottles of Bacardi Mojito. It's only like 21. It's only like I think it's like 17%, but it's still like a big, 700 milliliters bottle. So
it's also sweet too.
Yeah, and then you downing a whole 1.5 bottles of that. You're in the bathroom. You're regretting. So that was the last time I allowed that. After that, I was like, I kind of stopped drinking ciders after that, because every time I used to drink ciders, almost without fail, I felt like shit next day. For some reason, I noticed that I handle some liquors better than others. Like whiskey, I can almost get completely plastered, and the next day I'm like, it's no biggie. But then it's like cider, I have a few one too many, and it's like, oh fuck, I got a headache the next day.
So, man, I gave up the drinking a long time ago. It kept causing problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I have gone now to where it causes problems because I actually manage it. But I've always said, like, if it's something that's literally causing problems in your life, where you're either like spending all your money on liquor, or you're just becoming trashed and being a menace around you, losing friends, that's the point where it's time to fucking change something. Yeah. Thankfully, I was more of a menace to myself than anyone around me when I get drunk. So I kind of like, for some reason, I handle I guess I handle liquor well, in the sense that I never become like the drunk texting guy who you have to like adjust your brain to understand a sentence, what the text even says. So
Yeah.
I guess I've always been able to text really well, drunk and stuff like that. So, but yeah, but yeah, I
You didn't
don't.
get in trouble with drunk texting. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Uh,
but yeah, that's my history with that. And now it's just trying to keep it normal and just trying to keep it something that I'm doing to enjoy for the flavor, not to fucking get plastered.
Smart.
Yeah.
Very smart.
And that's why I don't drink beer, because I kind of like, it was kind of like one of those things like I enjoy the flavor, but it still feels like I'm forced. Right, there we go, back again. It'll be edited and it'll be smooth or whatever happens. But so yeah, so I guess the one thing I did have left is actually because of what you brought up recently on the channel with the farming, like what inspired, like in the first place, the farming stuff.
My wife.
Yeah, okay.
We wanted to get into it, and I was like, yeah, cool, that's whatever. And then just the longer we were together, like the more that idea started making sense. So we planned this years ago, and it's just now we're in it now. We're now doing it. We've had a couple years now, and we feel like, I don't know, we feel pretty good at certain things and really dumb at other things.
Yeah.
We got lucky with the berries and
Yeah.
learning how to like encourage them to grow. So that's just been like a little extra thing for us.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you've been enjoying it.
Yeah, I always wanted to stay in the cities and go to shows and do all city things, but America in the past 10 years has gotten really strange. I don't know if you keep up with current events.
When it's like, I'll put it like this: I don't like keeping up with politics like at all. Like, tend to find myself happier not doing it.
I will just give you the shorter version. Things in America are strange right now.
Yeah, I've seen headlines and stuff like
for
here
the past 10 years, we've been on a strange trajectory. So 10 years ago, I got on board with her idea. It was like, yep, here's what we need to do. And it took several years to get us here, but we finally made it. And this is just kind of what we do. And I was kind of alienated from the scene a little bit, and alienated from people and music. And I just thought I'm kind of glad I'm doing this because I'm able to reach out to other people who are saying the same thing. Like, I don't have any friends where I'm at. I don't have any people where I'm at. And I'm like, this should be a hangout. We should just listen to an album and just like talk to each other.
Yeah.
That's what I do in real life. That's the other thing. In real life, what am I doing? Listen to metal, talking to people,
Yeah, that's something like I tend to. I have a buddy Lapalik from Czech Republic. He's gonna see this, and I'm gonna. I've repeated your channel name a few times, but I guess I never sent a video because there was so much. I'm like, shit, I don't even know what I would send.
Right, yeah.
But he can go on his own. So I sometimes remind him because he follows politics more than I do, but it's not like he doesn't do it on purpose. But he kind of like sometimes start talking about the recent events, like Trump. Trump will get side mentioned in a sentence, and I'm just like.
I've worked real hard to keep that out of the videos.
Yeah, so I kind of just nudge him friendly and just like, I'm kind of just like trying to stay away from this right now. So, unfortunately, when I was trying to get into an old school band recently called Riot, when I actually went to look them up on YouTube, I guess that's the way I found out the recent news. With the new...
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I just saw the YouTube fucking titles and thumbnails, and I was like, I'm not clicking on any of this, and if I see anyone talk about this, I'm just gonna be like, I appreciate that you have your opinion on this, but I'd rather not.
Yeah, I'd rather not. Not here, anyways. I want this to be about metal, but so the inspiration for the gardening was, just the past 20 years in America have been really strange.
Yeah.
And I kind of got information from a lot of places, and I just thought, man, my wife was like, I want to move out in the country and have a farm. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And the later things went on, I was like, man, moving out in the country and having food sounds like a really good idea now.
Yeah.
And that's just the last 10, 15 years of living here in the U.S. and the insanity we're going through out here. Yeah,
so actually... because you bring it up a little bit in your videos here and there, you're talking about the government and stuff like that. I listened to it and when you're like calling yourself anarchist and stuff like that, I always, because I will say it's definitely because you're more mature than the people I used to run into. But there's there's a very big difference between you and internet teenager anarchists.
Oh well, teenage me was exactly like them. So I look at him and I'm like, scary on, champ. One day, if you live long enough, you'll grow up to be me.
Well, I don't know if you were quite like them, because there's some people out there now that you just gotta wonder how they.
Oh yeah, maybe I went that far. Yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta wonder what they
mean
thought
by
process happened there.
Yeah, what's going on? For me, it's just when I'm saying ANCAP is just like getting around currency.
Yeah.
Getting around bypassing.
That's a thing. That's a thing even like in Sweden. Like that's a universal problem for everyone, man. With the government trying to get in everyone's fucking faces and businesses. It's just like, and even trying to put limitations on farmers out in the
that's the dumbest thing in the world. Those people produce your food.
Yeah.
What are you doing, really?
There's been multiple times there have been strikes in Sweden because they started paying them less at certain points, and it's just like, what are you doing? Those are the guys providing.
Yeah. And I'm also trying to be like a kind of a light in the dark there. As crazy as all this is, there is a way out of it, and we are headed towards that way out of it. It just doesn't look like it yet.
Yeah, things do get better, so to speak.
Was that?
Things do get better, so to speak.
They can, they do, they will. You're just gonna have to ride out the last bit of this bumpy ass road, and we're on a big bumpy road, and it's coming to an end. So that's the other thing, was to get out here and say hey to everybody, because I don't know, it feels like nuclear bombs might start dropping any minute.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a really good one. I think we'll wrap it up there. So, I mean, if you have anything you want to shout out, say, or give anyone to...
Not top of my head, but hey, thanks, man, for having me on. This is great, dude. Great to see your face, man. See what you look like and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have my videos.
I can hear you.
Yeah. But, I mean, I got videos all of me as shit. I got all kinds of...
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that I think when you checked out my channel, I had a bunch of songs recently uploaded. So.
Oh, that's probably what it was. I'll scroll down and look at the back catalog then.
Yeah, the back catalog. Gotta watch the goddamn back catalog. What are these goddamn posers doing on my channel?
Dude, he's so quotable, dude. He's so quotable.
Yeah, that's why we love him. Because
I go on Twitter and somebody flashes an album. I'm like, somebody will say, "Dog owns it," of course.
Yeah.
That shows up all over the place.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize how damn famous he is now.
I mean, Von Gould said it. He's basically a celebrity.
Oh yeah, no, now he is. He was already internet famous, but now that he put on a show and a bunch of people have videos and went to it, and now here we are. I'm talking to you, and I met Mike and Dave, so I think we just all added credibility to our own bullet belts. I think a lot of us just bought a lot of credibility by doing that. And that's definitely a wave we need to ride. But I just wanted to, if anything, just congratulate Hell's Headbangers for what they're doing. That distro site, I've known a lot of guys attempt what they're doing, and they've never had the success or the scope of success that Hell's Headbangers has. That warehouse is actually big. It is intimidating to walk through because there is so much merch.
Yeah, I've seen some videos.
Yeah, those videos, I'm telling you. Well, there's one guy who walks around. There's a guy on there that's got really good.
I think it's Rob G. My buddy.
Is it Rob G?
It's funny.
Yeah, his shows you aisle after aisle and row after row, and it's almost floor to ceiling, dude. I don't know how they keep track of that.
Rob G is a good buddy and is actually a fan of Suicidal Grind. So he's bought my music before. So.
Oh, right on. Yeah. No, man. I saw him. But he was always filming, so I never got to talk to him.
Yeah,
and then
because you don't want to bother him and stuff. But he's I understand you don't want to bother him while he's filming, but he's one of those guys you can literally just go up to talk to. Because he's like one of those really buddy kind of guys. He's really friendly and shit. Yeah. But yeah, and actually, I kind of side mentioned it, but since we're signing off, I'll mention it myself. That I'll personally give a big thanks to fucking you for coming on, but also a big thanks to the fucking label that I've been putting out music with for since at least since my Gorglind album. So a couple albums now, like 3, 4, 5 albums or so. Yeah. Endogenic Noise Records. They primarily focus on noise artists and experimental ambient music, but they welcome me, who does fucking black death, brutal and offensive stuff. I mean, I even borrow a little bit from Chris Barnes, some of his topics on Tomb of the Mutilated I still came up with my own ideas around like a similar thing, but like keeping it mean and offensive and stuff like that. Yeah, and they're like, this is cool stuff, and the label owner's really cool. So, yeah, I'm really honored to be at a good place where I basically just send files and they're uploaded soon. So yeah, I'll wrap it up there. But yeah, it's been a good one, and later, goddammit.
Later.